course, here we are, live audio wrestling, the law, myself, Chris Tidwell, my partner in crime, who will do a straight dime if you just pay him enough in his vig, I guess. I don't know. I'm talking about little Bradie Whetham. And right now, okay, we've all seen the footage. We've all heard the stories. And I'm talking about what happened this past week. AEW throwing out the big punches. We've got leaked footage of a massive brawl that happens backstage between CM Punk and Jack Perry. Now, Brady, I'm going to go to you first, and I'm going to ask you, because you've seen it. You're still wearing the blue blockers indoors because it burned out a little bit of your retinas.
Yes, it did.
What did you make of all of this?
I think it's exactly what everybody's saying. I feel like we're maybe behind, but we're not behind. Everybody in the pro wrestling world has been talking about it for the past week. It did not overshadow anything from WrestleMania. The announcement came late night on the WrestleMania weekend that they were going to show the CM Punk, Jack Perry jumping Jeff Farmer footage. At first I wasn't sure if it was actually footage from that event because I seen Yokozuna there, and then I was like, "Oh no, that's not Yokozuna. No, that's Chris Hero."
Oh, I thought you were
No. I thought this was footage from like back in the day. No, it was Chris Hero. He looks like he's packed on a couple. Sorry, buddy, but that security footage must have added 180 pounds on him. But okay, so this is what I think. I think it's exactly what CM Punk said, but I don't think that was the aim from them putting that video out. I think it was just a ratings grab, and it did fuck all for them.
I think I think you're a little bit right, but also a little bit wrong. Okay? I think that it did do something for them. It made them tank.
Yeah.
It made them actually because if people weren't excited about this, because nobody that I talked to or heard from or read anything from or anything like that who didn't have the last name Schmelzer wasn't excited about this.
Even Dave shit on it.
Oh, I wasn't talking about, I said Schmelzer.
Oh.
Schmelzer.
Okay.
The non-union equivalent.
I apologize. My bad.
Yeah, we don't need to be getting any more.
But no, you're right. You're like, nobody thought that this was a good idea.
That was almost disastrous.
Yeah, but nobody thought this was a good idea. Don't spill your what is it? What are you drinking? Not a Pilsner.
No. I almost knocked the whole monitor glass shelf right off of the desk here.
Well, that's better than knocking over the blue ribbon.
Because I was trying to put more of those letters. I have a stack going down here, and
we're getting sued again.
Trying to fit another one. We'll get into that in a little bit. Listen, speaking of getting sued, we should all be getting together and forming a class action suit on AEW for that footage that we saw.
You want to know what I think, brother?
What do you think?
You're going to hate me for this, but I think the whole thing's a work.
Okay, there it is. It had to be somebody.
Had
to be somebody who was going to come up with this idea.
Explain
yourself.
I think it was a work because I think the whole thing was not an FU to CM Punk or the WWE. It was an FU to the network that they're on because they're already going to Amazon Prime eventually. They're going to go to Amazon because the ratings cannot hold those slots on primetime TV. Okay. Their ratings are tanking every day. I think the networks have already given them the heads up. I think they're going to Amazon Prime because this is what they did. They released a video, however long it was, 90 seconds, maybe 120 seconds on TV without sound or narrating it. So there was no closed captions. There was no sound for 2 minutes. So anybody who is vision impaired thought that it was just, it was literally like, that's the equivalent to darkness. So why would somebody want to sit there, and why would some station want to air the most special time slot, which is like 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all that good stuff? Why would they do that? You can go ahead, sir.
Question. Have you ever watched wrestling for the visually impaired? Does it exist?
Yes.
because I want to know what channel this is on now, and I want to experience this because I feel like the calling would be absolutely horrendous.
Okay, so let's just say closed captions though. So even like for closed captions, there was nothing going on just for closed captions at all.
What
So
could
even
closed captions be for a wrestling match even? Do
it
they
was,
throw in the Batman sounds like the boom, the slap, thigh slap?
brother, if they closed caption us online, they're closed captioning Michael Cole and Corey Graves while they're going over the action.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
why
talking.
they have announcers. It's just you're hilarious. But during the hardcore ruthless aggression Vince, there wasn't a move called at all. So people were like, what the fuck is happening? It's just stories,
That's
right?
what I'm
But
saying.
yeah, no, okay. So going back to it though. So I think it was dead air time. I think it didn't do any purpose. Okay, me and you talk about this. Let's take the work thing aside.
Sure.
Where was the business in this? Where was the actual business in this, my friend?
See, there couldn't have been anything other than to pop the ratings. That's it. But they don't have. There was no escape plan for it. There was no out. There was no blow. What's the blow off for it? The only blow off you could get from out of that had already missed the boat. What should have happened was they should have been put down in a room with somebody immediately. Had this happened in the WWE, I have to believe in my heart of hearts that somebody would have sat them down in a room right after that happened and said, listen, I don't give a shit about what y'all think about one another. We're going to make money off of this. And AEW absolutely missed the boat off of that because both of those guys are gone from the fucking company.
Okay, well, even like CM Punk back when the locker room incident happened with the dog and Steel and all that, that was the money time. Like they could have done something so big then that would have blown the WWE out of like their WrestleMania 40 campaign. Like they could have done something that was business for like 2 or 3 years. They could have ran it in almost an NWO style.
Yeah.
Like that. And I don't mean NWO, but I mean like the actual how impactful that was in a completely different company. That was their time to do something that big that could have led to t-shirts being sold 30 years down the road, but they never did it.
We're in a world where the curtain is getting pulled back just a little bit more each time.
Every day.
And if they want to be that company, right, that is playing to that genre of human, then you have to be willing to pull that back just a little bit. So pull it back. Say, hey, here's the fight. Here's what sparked this quote, quote, feud. Now, all of a sudden, you've got people out there going, oh, we don't know what's real and what's not. Because right now, everybody thinks, oh, yeah, that footage was absolutely very real. But these people are on opposite sides of the world now. And we as fans and the fans out there don't get any kind of payday for it. There is no payoff to anybody other than maybe that 90-second pop that they got from it.
Well, they got CM Punk chance, though, in the crowd.
This is what I'm saying. It did nothing for AEW except for make them even colder than they already were. On that same card, they decided they were going to be cutesy, and they put a Samoan in with a Rhodes. That was the main event. Here's the other problem that they did with this, Brady, in my opinion, that you would not have seen from the biggest company in the world. If they have one of these announcements and they say to you, we're going to show you this thing. We've got this massive announcement. Holy crap, you're not going to believe the footage that we saw from Brian Pillman's house, blah, 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 all of this stuff. You're not seeing that until the 10:55 at night. It's done. AEW decided to show this right out the gate so everybody could just turn it on. Oh, that was it? That's all you gave me? And then
it was worse than right out the gate. It was like halfway. It was like 8:30 or something like that, half an hour into the show, which is like the worst time. They should have led into it for, you're right, like right at the end of the night when you're getting viewers that are stumbling in for something that is coming on later.
And then the company, as the workers, they've got to spend the rest of the time on the show explaining to the fans themselves and what they just saw.
Do you
like what?
You know Tony Schiavone? You've met Tony Schiavone before, haven't you? Have you ever crossed paths with Tony?
Very, very briefly when he was with WCW years and years and years ago. Yes.
Poor guy. You could see it on his face, man. Yeah. And I know that that's become a meme now, but like I genuinely do feel bad for him because you've seen he was gone from wrestling for so long. This guy has a completely different career outside of wrestling. He was doing fine.
There was no reason why he had to try to explain anything. There's no reason why FTR had to come out there and try to cut a promo like they just got done fixing their lawnmowers and got thrown out there with a microphone. There's absolutely no reason any of these guys had to do anything. It was done. It was said. It was gone. But CM Punk made his point on his interview of Ariel Helwani, and then AEW was like, well, we need to retort to this. Unfortunately, your retort was a little tart.
So, Tid, can I ask you where do we go from here with AEW? Where does this go?
They need to forget this entire thing happened, and they need to get their head around the stars that they have. They have talented people there, and they need to stop. They need to absolutely stop trying to look at themselves like it's a competition. Do your thing, and the rest of it will follow, man.
Well, at this point, they're in competition with TNA Wrestling and New Japan. Like, that's their competition. Like, they're not on the same level as WWE. They're never going to be on the same level as WWE. Any chances that they had to even spark a little bit of interest, which would get them to a fraction of where WWE is, and then maybe fall back down after the steamrolls. And I don't know. There's something about that makes me think that money talks. And if this kid's got all this money in the world, there will always be a chance. There's like a 1% chance that he could turn something around and get a bunch of stars and do something different. But stop comparing yourself to that company, because you're not that company.
If you're going to compare yourself to that company, then you better look exactly like that company or better, not less than. What it looks like is you're comparing yourself to WCW, Thunder, not Nitro. And in doing so, the production, the shots, everything like that look like it's dated. There's a difference. And if you watch it, you see the difference. The money in the production that WWE puts into it is absolutely crazy. AEW and other companies are shooting wrestling shows, and they're putting on a wrestling show. WWE is putting on a TV show about a wrestling company. And that's the biggest difference. And AEW wants to get into that game. They got to start putting on a TV show about a wrestling company. Listen, you know who had it right, in my opinion? Lucha Underground. They did a fantastic job. That show was absolutely, because it was a TV show about a wrestling company. They just didn't have any kind of backing. It was very finite because it was only a certain type of, they had like a roster of 12 people or something like, you know what I mean? It was very small. It just didn't get but the idea that they had is better than what we've seen. AEW has to get their shit together, man.
Yeah, no, it's gotten almost embarrassing at this point. That's the most embarrassing thing they've ever done. I feel like they shot themselves in the foot, and they're on their way to Amazon Prime to be lost in a sports section.